Hello, everybody. Welcome to, well, this rather stormy, soon to be Wednesday morning here in Minneapolis. If you guys hear noises, it's seriously because there's like a death storm on the way. So my apologies if it gets noisy. But for those of you who don't know me, I am Jen Green. I am, well, visually sitting next to me is RG Williams, the mentor's mentor, one of my first mentors that I worked with. He's pretty amazing. I'm super excited to have this opportunity to interview him. It's going to be amazing. Just for those folks, though, we are I'm on from Property House. My name's Jen Green again, like I said, and we are able to help folks in situations, in real estate situations, where it's perhaps like a sticky kind of situation to get out of. So if it's a foreclosure, you've inherited a home, you need to sell quickly because of an impending divorce, a bankruptcy, vacant home, any kind of situation where you do not want to sell on the traditional market, we're able to help you. We always present 2 to 3 offers to make things as easy as possible for you. And then more or less, you get to choose the one that works best for you. So you can always contact us through Facebook. You can send us an email, hello@propertyhousepartners.com, on our website. All of that is links to everything that we do, and all of our social media posts are going to be available in our links. Gabby will be posting that for you guys as we go along. Also, if you have questions for RG during this interview, please ask them live. You can always post them after and we can get them to him because he is tagged on this. But if anything comes up while we're going through this interview, if you think of something later, please reach out to him. You can also reach out to him directly on Facebook at RG Williams, and we can do it that way. So welcome, RG. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's nice to be.
Yeah, I'm super excited about having you here. And I sat down and I said, I really liked the background that you have with all your guitars. That's in your studio, isn't it?
It is my studio. Years back, my daughters came to me and said they wanted to learn how to play guitar and vocals. I heard build a studio. So I built a studio for them. Yeah.
Well, there you go. That worked out well.
Yeah, for me
Good.
It did.
So I started out, it was March, probably a little over 2 years ago, that I went out to Utah and was in a seminar with you, and it was a market seminar. And I don't know, there was something about you. I just felt like I connected a lot with you, and you and I have been kind of, kept in contact over the years. And I wanted to bring you on because I think a lot of the information that you have is so valuable, and you present it in a way that makes sense. And perhaps maybe that's why you were called the mentor's mentor. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But you have such an interesting story of how you got into real estate. I'd love for you to just share with the people that are watching, obviously, a short version of it, but it's just a really kind of a cool story. And so I wanted to just share that with everybody, if you're willing to do that.
Absolutely. And again, thanks for the opportunity. 1997, my divorce finalized. I needed to do something. So I started studying success, as I realized that success has formulas and there's no secrets, there's formulas. Also then found out that people who are successful own real estate. So I started studying real estate. The fact that I needed a job was more important than all that I was studying. And so somebody offered me a job to be a mentor, a coach on small business owners, or for small business owners, which then led into the seminar industry and on and on and on. And so 23 plus years later, I've been behind the scenes and in the trenches and teaching and real estate investing and just having an amazing run. That's a very short version, but yeah, I started out because I needed a job, and it worked into an empire.
Right. And that's pretty amazing. The other part too is that empire you say. You've worked with some, really big names that a lot of people know of, Ron LeGrand, Brian Tracy, Peter Solaris. And now, like I said, we talked about, you've been tagged as that mentor's mentor, right? So tell me how that happened and what that really what that means to you.
Well, the evolution as I got into the job and being the mentor, my original mentor was Dr. A.D. Kessler. He was out of Southern California. He had started creative real estate back in 1940s, whatever, the right year after the war, so 46, 47. And then he had a training program, and I became the coach, the mentor for that training program. But what was beautiful about it is he taught me everything. So The only thing I've never been involved with are billboards. Every other aspect of real estate, I've either been involved with, done the transaction, or owned. So it was just this amazing evolution that just kept running over and over again. And so then I got up into the seminar industry, and being in the seminar industry, then we started working with the big names. And we had big platforms. Magic Johnson spoke on our platform. Now President Trump, but Donald Trump back then, as he was doing his real estate, and just all of the big. And then it led into, Flipping Boston and Tarek and Christina and all of these. Well, behind the scenes, I was the trainer, the mentor, and created it, working with them to get their materials out and so forth, and then all of the training, the mentors and so forth. So everybody just started calling me the mentor's mentor, because I was mentoring all the mentors to go out and teach the classes. So it's kind of an endearing title for me. I laugh because I'm just a kid from Utah. I had to go to night school to get out of high school. And, so I just sit back and smile and go, yeah, the universe is pretty cool.
That is. So in terms of you becoming that, who do you think really, and I know you said who, your original mentor was, but who do you feel like have been the biggest, influences for you or mentors for you?
In life, my dad. My dad was my biggest. He passed in 2004. Dr. Kessler was then one. And it's interesting, if you've read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki.
Yep.
My dad was the poor dad, phenomenal man, but he was corporate. And so he had that old school corporate mentality, save a dime, save a dime, save a dime. Dr. Kessler was the rich dad, was risk it, invest it, make it move, all those kind of things. So I had a very, very good double whammy, if you will, a two-edged sword, that those two men influenced everything. Then from there, I'd have to say Jim Rome, the great sage. I had an opportunity to write co-author a book with him. The stuff I learned from him was amazing. And then Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich.
Yep.
Those really right there are my influences that just keep. Everybody asks, like, what are you reading now? What are you reading now? Yeah, I'm rereading Think and Grow Rich. Well, haven't you read that before? Yeah, like 30 times. But there's so much in there. So yeah, those were pretty much the four that really. And I learned golden pieces from, nuggets from everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think too, sometimes when you read those really influential books, each time you read it, you obviously get something completely different out of it every time.
Every time. I was like, that wasn't in here before. Yeah. Wasn't here before. Yeah.
So one of the biggest things too, I remember, when I was listening to you was your coin term, live your destiny. That's a big thing for you. So what does that essentially mean? And what do you think that, what has real estate provided, for you in that aspect?
So when I go back, because we all have definitions attached to words, and most of those definitions come from our upbringing, school teachers, church teachers, parents, grandparents, whoever was our influencers, right? And my parents met in the 3rd grade. So they were elementary school sweethearts, right? They got married at 18, 19. Dad was in the war, so he served W-2 in Korea. They traveled the world, on and on and on. So that was a definition of marriage that I had. Well, when my divorce hit, I was the first one in family to divorce. So now definition of marriage has changed. So as I started looking at that, I started realizing that each one of us have our own destiny to live, and we can't live it off of what we've been taught. We have to incorporate it into us. So as I started looking through all of that, my whole passion in life is to have family around and vacation. And you know that, you've heard my stories. I vacation all the time. To me, I just create memories. Well, in order to do that, I needed an opportunity that would generate sufficient money. And I wanted to do it legal, ethical, moral. So drugs and alcohol and prohibition, all that kind of stuff's out the chute, right? That's not going to work. Well, then, okay, everybody on real estate. Well, yeah, but I do that on the vacations, right? So I looked at real estate and went, oh, here I can start controlling things with good amounts of return. So
Right.
I'm always looking at what is my return on investment, not just cash. What's my return on physical investment? If I'm going to put my labor into it, what's going to be my return? Well, one, if you look at Scholastic, I have a high school degree, period. So who's going to pay me the amount of money that I have and the amount of money I make with a high school degree? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, right? But I can sit back and go, I know how hard I work. I know what I need to be done. My daddy taught me that. I know how to work. So go to work. You're not going to die from hard work. You'll pass out first. Somebody will bring you back. They'll hit you with the paddles, whatever. They're going to keep you moving, right? So
Right.
I just look at it and went, okay, so if each one of us have to learn, or each one of us not have to, we need to learn what that is learn that destiny. Destiny is the only one guarantee we have is none of us get off this rock alive, period. That's
Right.
the only guarantee. Well, okay, what if I can enjoy it my way? What if I can go out and help other people and really make a difference in people's lives and on and on and on? What would that do for my life? The great Zig Ziglar said, help enough people get what they want, you'll always get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I started. That's what destiny is to me. Open your destiny means understanding you, align your head, your heart, and go to work.
Right. And that doesn't necessarily have to be real estate, right? I mean, it could be,
Oh, no.
obviously that's the path we've chosen, but I mean, it's more or less about people just figuring out what it is that their destiny is for.
Exactly. My brother, before he passed, was a restaurateur. His destiny was food and not consuming it, creating this. That was before all the food channels and stuff, right? Before any of the internet, because he passed away back in 2001. But the whole thought pattern for him was, how can I create enjoyment for other people through food? So that was his destiny, and it was amazing, and it worked through. My oldest brother's a pharmacist, and his intellectual capacity, which he's way up there, that works for him because he gets to run the chemistry and all that, and all that stuff. He gets to play in all of the drugs, and that works. So each one of us have that little destiny. I chose real estate because of the money.
Yep.
Period. That no other reason. Everybody do you like real estate? No, a house is a house, a house. I like the profits that come out of real estate.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you said this a little bit earlier when we were talking to that there are no secrets to success, right? There's only formulas.
Right.
So one that I found that you had, said is the abundance consciousness, which is, the V plus Q plus S equals success. And that V is value, Q is quantity, and S is speed. So
Correct.
Can you kind of expand on that a little bit? Because, there's a lot in there.
The best example of that formula. So you have value, quantity, and speed equals success. The best example is Amazon.
There you go.
Best example. Quantity. They have it. How many people go out and they're looking at something and then they jump over to Amazon to see if Amazon has it? So they look for quantity. Value. They look, do I get that value? And then speed. Oh, I can have it here overnight. Oh, if I join Prime, I can have it here today. Right? So it's that is the best example of that equation. Wealth abundance is simply an understanding how you deal with wealth. So many people, and you and I both know this from real estate, so many people go, well, I want to get into real estate, but their fears hold them. Their anxiousness about their credit report holds them back. Oh, you mean I got to go into debt? Oh, they always have that brown paper bag and hyperventilating, and they got to breathe in it all the time. It may not be for you. It may not be for you. A lot of people jump into network marketing or multi-level marketing, and yet they hate to talk to people. Well, are you kidding? That's a people business. You got to talk to people. Okay. Yeah. If you don't want to talk to people, get in a dropship business, get in an Amazon business, create something on eBay. That's an opportunity where you can communicate via a computer. And that might be a better way for your personality. So you got to look at that kind of stuff. If I can provide quantity and quality and then I can provide the value, and I can do it quickly. And the faster I can do that, then all of a sudden I'm successful. So wealth abundance formula is have value, have the quantity and quality in there, and then do it quickly. And if you can put the speed of that together, you and I know the faster I can move, or we can move a property back onto the market, then we have a better return. Less days on market gives us bigger profit. So if I can get the value and the quantity in there, the quality of everything, and do it quickly, I'm going to be successful.
Right. And I think you were kind of saying too, is I think the quickly part sometimes makes people scared, right? Because they're like, oh, but what if I don't do it right? Or what if I screw up? But more or less, it's kind of like, well, 80% done and done well is better than 100% not done. Right.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
My daddy always said, some people work fast and other people work half-assed. And so when you think about that, it doesn't take 2 nickels more to do it right. Doesn't take to do it right the first time. Doesn't take but 10, 20 seconds more to do it right the first time. So if you say, oh, I'm going to do, a rehab, and I'll just stay in that game because that's you and I. So if we say, oh, we're going to do it in 60 days, that's really foolish. You ought to say, I'm going to do it in 90 days and then push to finish in 60. Mm-hmm. But at least when it goes over, you're not panicking and you do a half-assed job.
Right.
Do it right. Do it right.
Right.
Exactly.
Hey man, I followed that. I mean, like I said, when you hear that, I think, you just have to do it and do it fast, right? But obviously, I mean, not have it be horrible, but get it done.
Yeah,
and you're
but everything has its time, right? I mean, even the good book says in every season, right? You're not going to reap the fruit when you plant the plant.
Right.
You've got to let the seasons happen. I was out this morning looking at tomato plants, and I'm going, okay, I got 3 tomato plants, and these 2 are producing fruit, but this one isn't. They're all planted at the same time. Okay, well, each one's going to mature differently, and it's going to get different sun, and et cetera, and maybe one's just stubborn and doesn't want to grow, doesn't want to produce tomatoes. Okay, but that doesn't mean that it was a failure in action. It means that everything has its place. Oh, okay. So great. Don't try and harvest the same time you plant.
I think that makes sense. Right. So the other thing I was going to say too, you have a webinar out there right now that's titled How to Generate a 6-Figure Income in Real Estate with No Money and No Credit.
Correct. And by the way, they can jump onto that webinar, and I know you'll post everything out there, and it's free and it's running all the time. And I did that for a reason. They can go and see what's going to be involved, because what I really wanted to do is push them towards a master class where we could go 6 weeks of breaking that down. Because 2 things have to happen. One, you've got to mentally be prepared, like we've been talking. And then 2, you have to understand the strategies. So in real estate, there are ways to do real estate not using your money and not having credit. And I am proof of that, because I was making $686 an hour when I started. And I had it was like 450, 460 FICO score. So nobody would give me a loan. They didn't make any money and they didn't have any credit. So I had to figure out all of the strategies that work without using money.
Right. And I think, it's one of those things that, like, the title sounds really good. Right. And so I think a lot of people are like, oh, this is a gimmick, or it's clickbait or whatever. But I mean, you're living proof of that. I mean, you had to do that, right?
Had to do it. Yeah. And I would love just to come right out and go, all right, people, you want to learn how to do that? Just sign up right here. But we have this really interesting thought pattern society right now, is people don't want to buy, they want to be sold. And that's just the strangest thing to me. I mean, we all want to buy, but we don't want to part. We want to be sold. So we go through all of the funnels or the clicks or do this webinar. And I'm not making fun of the industry. I just know that's human nature. Mm-hmm. So in doing this free webinar, that's the first thing people go, oh, okay, it's free. Let me go learn. My dad taught me that. We used to go car shopping on Sunday, because back in those days, no car dealer was open on Sunday. So there was no pressure, no hype. We could go look at cars, and then he'd find the one he wanted, and then to test drive, he'd go during working hours. Mm-hmm. So a lot of us love the internet because we can surf without being committed. That's awesome. That's awesome. People don't know where to go to find the information. So you and we start putting things together so they can find the information. The fact is, there's 151 ways to buy real estate. There's 225 ways to finance it, and there's 161 ways to sell it. You don't think in all of those numbers you can do it without your money? I can show you. That's the whole point. It's there. You can find it. I just condensed it because of what I did. Not what I'm teaching you. It's what I did. I'll show you exactly what I did, what the scripts are, all of those things to put together. I'll show you exactly what I did to get where I am. Because people always say that to me. It's like, I want to do what you do. I said, great, do what I did. You do what I did, you'll be able to do what I do.
That's a lot of do's.
It is.
It's true. No,
Right.
it's true. I mean, I think even just hearing those numbers that you said too, I mean, even for some, I've been doing this for, I don't know, 2.5 years or so. And just even hearing those numbers again, it's like, wow, we all get stuck in this box of what we think we can do. Right. And then there's so many other opportunities of how we can put things together to also, be able to help people. And that's really what this is about. Like, sure, there's a paycheck at the end of it, but, for doing, the reason is we're helping people out of situations more or less to make their lives better as well, to give them choices. And so
Exactly.
an abundance of ways to do things and being creative about it is really something that you're a true expert on, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And well, yes. And thank you. My mentor was the same way. And Walt Disney always said, never say think outside the box, because then you acknowledge there's a box. Just think.
Mm-hmm.
So when you set in, there's a concern happening. This person cannot sell their house. Why? Well, let's figure out what that is. This person is unable to buy a house. Why? Well, let's figure out what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And you just look at those two things. Now what I'm looking at is, oh, okay, now I've got value. Now I can put then the quantity and quality together, because this is what they need. Okay, this may be what they want. This is what they need. And those are two different things. And now let's see how fast I can do it to put it together. So if I've got a frustrated seller, I don't believe in motivated sellers. I have a frustrated seller. And like you mentioned, even in the beginning, this is what Property House focuses on. We help you in ways. We know different ways. And so you're able to position it out. Hey, I got a seller that's in this. Okay. It's a divorce. Like I just picked up a house just last week in a divorce bankruptcy situation.
There you go.
Okay. Well, that's frustration. And it was just, okay, well, I'll take your real estate. You deal with the other mess of the divorce and the bankruptcy, but I know what to deal with this. And so the bankruptcy attorney and everybody else we got in was like, yeah, I'll take that property and this is how we can do it. Great. I resolved that issue for them.
Right.
Now, what am I going to do with this property? Oh, well, that's easy. I got buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when you look at it in that way, I'm the demand and supply guy. I find the demand and then I go get the supply. That's again what Amazon, Jeff Bezos put together. He figured out somebody was searching for something. So there's the demand.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started putting the supply together. Okay. So you just look at it in that direction. If you have somebody that has health issues and maybe you're in a network marketing company that has great products for a joint inflammation or something like that. Well, there's the demand. Those who are suffering with joint inflammation, and you can go find a product that will help ease that pain. How fast do you move that product?
Right.
You know, it's just, you got to think out of it. Everybody gets caught up in the thought, oh, I'm a real estate investor. Oh, I'm a network marketer. No, you're a businesswoman. You're a businessman. What's your product? Well, my product is real estate. Okay. Which means what? Sellers and buyers. Okay. How fast do you move it?
Right. I mean, and to kind of tie this all together, I mean, you have a newer book that came out too, which is Pull Your Head Out and Live Your Destiny. I mean, it's pretty much what we've been talking about for the last, 20 minutes or so.
It is. If all of us would get in a position of thinking life's not a popularity contest, be nice, love others, appreciate where others are coming from, but understand that where all of that's happening has nothing to do with you. So don't get in this, Oh my gosh, I got to be popular. Are you kidding me? Just go make money. Just go make money. If you simply have to set back and provide for your family, if you're by yourself, that's different. When you have a partner, spouse, then you add children, then you add responsibilities, on and on and on. Go make money. Okay, well, let's back it out. So what do I got to do in here to fix it? Well, one, my dad always said to me, son, pull your head out. Get in the game. Okay, so that's where that came from, right? I told you my dad was my heavy influence. Well,
Yeah.
pull your head out. Live your destiny. Stop thinking that they're going to knock on your door and give you the money, that an opportunities come. I did a podcast this week. It just released yesterday. It was called Remove Your Limits.
Mm-hmm.
If we lived life without limits that we impose upon ourselves, oh my goodness, how happy would things be? How fast would things be? How tolerant, more tolerant would we be? I mean, we're in a really weird position right now in our country.
Of course.
Things need to happen. Things are happening weird. Okay, we need to be tolerant. We need to work through things, not destroy things. That's the way you've got to be with yourself. You need to work through things, not destroy yourself. You got to be happy. You got to pull your head out and start living your destiny. There's a reason you're on the rock, and there's a reason you're on the rock right now. I don't care what your religious belief is. Get that done. But there's a reason you're here right now. We'll figure it out and go. So that's why I wrote that book.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we're kind of coming to the end of our time here, but, you know, I feel like there's a lot of really great things that we talked about today. And so if somebody, you know, is inspired and says, gosh, you know, I need to live my destiny and I need to do these things, what do you think? And especially with how weird, as you said, you know, weird things are right now, what do you think would be a really good first step maybe for someone to start, not necessarily exploring, because we can all explore as long as we want to, but for somebody who's
Right.
ready to take that leap and do something and change things, you know, about their life and create that own destiny that you know, talk so much about, what is the best advice that you could give them right now in, you know, 30 seconds or a minute?
Understand your definitions. Be brutally honest with yourself and go, who am I? What am I about? And define your life. That right there is going to change. It'll change everything. It'll change your success, your money, on and on and on, everything, because now what you'll do is align you. I was talking with Gary Vee. I don't know if you know Gary Vee and all of his craziness out there. I was talking with him yesterday, and he said one thing to me, and he goes, dude, just get started. Of course, he had a little more explicit, you know, his verbs in there, but it was like, just get started. Like, okay. So people, just get started. Start looking at the definitions you have. Start looking at how you believe. What do you say to yourself? What do you really want to do? Okay. And you hear all this stuff, you know, if money was not an object, what would you do? Scratch that right now. What would you do? What would you do for you? That's where you got to start.
Awesome. Thank you. This was so fun.
Thank you.
I loved having you on, and just talking and, you know, seeing you again has been really special. So I appreciate that. I'm going to have everything posted here in the comments for you guys to get in touch with RG for his webinar, to order his books, any of those things. He's got a whole bunch of different books that he's written. And then, like I said, also link to his webinar, a link to his website also. If you feel like you've connected with him and feel something, I mean, please go for it. He, like I said, has been a major influence in my life. And he's been doing some really great stuff lately. So I wanted to give that opportunity to everybody out here who's watching. For those of you, though, that are looking for help from Property House, I'm going to have Gabby also post any way that there is to get in contact with us. So our website's going to be posted in the link, which is propertyhousepartners.com. You can also reach us on Instagram. It's Property House Partners, to see some of our really fun before and afters. And then also, because as I said, you know, some of these are about 20 to 25 minutes, these interviews. And so if there are questions that you have and you feel like you're not able to find it, post it on our YouTube. And then I will be able to answer your question in a quick 45 to 60 seconds. You can go in there and check it out anytime. There's quite a few that I have on there already. And if you want to get in touch with us, shoot us an email, send me a message. You can send me a personal message, or you can reach out to us at hello@propertyhousepartners.com. So thanks so much again for joining us, RG. Like I said, always a pleasure. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Watch for the post that we send out for the topic that we will be discussing. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep, thanks.